courtship versus dating, and that is trusting God for the one person that's right for you versus shopping around trying to find the right one.
It's like, oh, I'm in love, and a week later they break up. Next guy, oh, I'm in love. 2 weeks later they break up. Where courtship is first praying and asking the Lord, Lord, I love you more than anybody. So is this the person you want me to marry?
That we are trying, our goal is to remain pure before marriage.
Hey you guys, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. If you're someone that tomorrow is Thanksgiving and you're not celebrating, can you tell me in the comments? Last year, my husband and I did a thing where we cooked this whole big dinner and it was just for the two of us due to the COVID stuff. And this year we were planning on going to my parents' house and they actually came down with COVID. So we are not going anywhere tomorrow, and we made this like executive decision that we're not going to cook tomorrow and we're just going to relax. And it's going to literally be the first time I think ever that I've not celebrated. And if you are in the same boat as me, can you tell me in the comments so I don't feel so alone? It's so hard to just cook for two people. We spent so many hours last year cooking and we literally tossed like half of it because we couldn't eat it fast enough. A couple days ago, there was a wedding in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and David Keller, who is Anna Keller's younger brother, got married to Hannah Reber. I know, it's ridiculous. Okay, so Hannah Reber and David, they actually met this summer. And if you want to know who Hannah Reber is, she is Josh Duggar's guardian's daughter. Yes, it's so true. This is like 2 degrees of separation. It's almost like Jim Bob gave this payment over to LeCount and Maria for housing their son. And it's almost like LeCount and Maria are marrying off Hannah so that she doesn't have to be around the creepazoid. I'm just saying. Anyways, so they got married this weekend and there was some photos circulating. One of the Duggar videographers that's from the IBLP, Gabriel Johnson, he has Gabenator Films, and a photographer, Courtney something or other, shared a couple photos on Instagram and they started circulating around. And I noticed in the photos that Lauren Duggar was a bridesmaid, Katie Duggar, Josie Duggar, and some of the sisters of David and some friends of Hannah's. And then on the flip side, David had some groomsmen like Nathan Keller, Nathan and Nuri. There was, interestingly, Matthew Waller. There was David Waller. There was Daniel Keller. Jed Duggar was the only Duggar boy, and some other guys. And so they had 10 groomsmen, and then one of Josh's and Anna's sons was a groomsman. So Josh and Anna's son is in the wedding. Obviously, David Keller is Anna's brother. So the assumption is that Anna and Josh would maybe be at this wedding. Now, here's where it gets a little bit odd. So I think it was yesterday, one of the insiders that I speak to on the regular down in Arkansas contacted me to let me know that they had a thought and they had heard that Josh Duggar was telling people that he was going to be at this wedding. LeCount and Maria are in charge of monitoring Josh at all times, and he is supposed to be at their house at all times. So immediately when people saw that Hannah was getting married, they were like, well, who's watching Josh? Because LeCount and Maria are obviously at the wedding, so who's going to be at home? And Anna isn't going to be with Josh because, I mean, she's going to be at her brother's wedding. And my source said that Josh was telling some friends that he was actually attending the wedding. So then immediately the source is like, is this even allowed? Would he be breaking his bond conditions? Can he attend a wedding? Wouldn't there be minor children at this wedding? He's not supposed to be around his sisters, his siblings, and Josie was at the wedding. He's not supposed to have contact with minors. And I was like, yeah, I mean, technically, but we looked at some of the stipulations on the bond agreement and we're not totally sure, and we'll get there in a second. I got photographs from this person who happens to know both the Rebers and the Duggars. Y'all, it's not a huge circle of people in Northwest Arkansas. So they sent me these photos which show who like is in the wedding, and there wasn't a lot that I could dissect from them. So I posted them up on my Instagram, and I basically just said that, hey, I got some insider news that Josh Duggar might have been at this wedding, and I don't know. I haven't been able to verify this, but Josh was apparently telling his friends that he was going to be at this wedding. And then immediately after that happened, the Reddit people are in my on my post, and they're like, you stole these photos from Reddit. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I didn't. But I will say this. After I got the message from my source in Northwest Arkansas, I wanted to see what was posted on Reddit and why I was being accused of stealing these photos. And I actually found a photo from a user named Steamboat Oaks, I think, who believes that I stole the photos from them, which, by the way, I didn't. I will say that the photographs that were found that were texted to me, I specifically asked my source where they got the photos, and they said they got them from Facebook because they happen to be friends with the Rebers. So apparently someone in the Reber family has posted photographs from the wedding. And so then I jumped onto Reddit to see what was on Reddit and why I might be accused of stealing. And now I see optically why they might think this, because they did post some of those same photos, although I didn't have a lot of these photos. But they did find a photograph of what appears to be Josh at the wedding, which I will give them credit for. They posted in the Duggar snark board, I believe. And it's Josh, it's Anna's head, and she turns around and you can tell it's Anna. And they put a photograph of John, there's a head down with a receding hairline, and then they put up a photo of Josh, and it makes it believe that it's Josh. And so the user Steamboat Oak, or on Reddit, posted these, which Steamboat Oak, you can like chill out. I didn't steal these photos from you, and I'm going to give you credit right here. So Josh Duggar is apparently seen at the wedding. Josh Duggar is telling his friends that he's going to the wedding. Josh Duggar is around his siblings at the wedding. Josh Duggar is also around children at the wedding. I'm guessing Josh Duggar's probation officer gave him special permission to be there because LeCount and Maria were going to be there, and because who else was going to watch him. The reason why I think he might have gotten special permission is that on his home detention check on his bond agreement, it says that you are restricted to your residence at all times except for employment, education, religious services, medical substance abuse or mental health treatments, attorney visits, court appearances, court-ordered obligations, or other activities approved in advance by the pretrial services office or supervising officer. So if he wanted to attend the wedding, my guess is they had to make a request to the probation officer and request that he be allowed to attend. And I'm assuming they would have to disclose the fact that he would be around there'd be kids there, and that he would have to disclose that maybe a sibling was there, because Josie was A Junior's bridesmaid. Another stipulation in this, it says that no contact with minors, including family, siblings, members with the exception, and members with the exception that he may have supervised visits with his children. So my question is that was he allowed to be at the wedding as long as he did not have contact with them, as long as he wasn't in the same room or like the same area as them? It was an outdoor wedding, and if he's not near Josie and he's not talking to Josie and he's not contacting Josie, is he given special permission to speak to Josie, or do they just ignore each other while they're there? My guess is he wouldn't risk going to a wedding publicly, knowing the photographs would be posted on Facebook, knowing that photographs could eventually show up that had him in there, and risk that he would lose probation and have his probation revoked or have his bond revoked. Risking his bond or having his bond revoked and having him go back into the slammer. So I'm gonna go with the fact that maybe they were granted a special exception, and maybe it's because Hannah and David obviously are connected in more ways than one. So what's interesting here, though, is that Hannah and David went public with their relationship back in June. And this was in with like a month of Josh Duggar being placed on home confinement. And they met, courted, married within the span of 6 months. That's short even for fundies. 6 months total from the start to the marriage. This tells me that I think LeCount and Maria Reber really want to get Hannah out of the house, specifically before the trial. The trial starts on November 30th, and I'm guessing they don't want Hannah there in the middle of all of that because I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of paparazzi out there. So the fact that they have the wedding so quick, and that it's literally within 6 months of them dating, I so hope these two actually know each other. Now, for those of you that are wondering, was Jill Rodriguez there? Because a lot of you guys are obsessed with her. You guys, Jill was at home in Ohio working on construction on her house, according to her photographs on Facebook. And I'm guessing she is still not allowed to attend Duggar functions after she published the program of Ginger and Joy on her blog. So no J-Rod at the wedding. So Josh and Anna Duggar attend a wedding for her brother. Josh is granted access to a ceremony that has children at it. And I want to know, even if it was approved by the probation office, how does that make you feel? Because Josh has a propensity to do things to children, and the photographs allegedly and videos contain children. Is it safe? Is Josh safe anywhere around kids? Were they placing children at risk by being in a area around Josh? Or do you feel like Josh would have been so heavily monitored that he wouldn't have had the opportunity? My thought is, I can't believe this got approved, but I can't believe that he would go and violate because of just the publicity around this case. I wouldn't, if it was my child, I would not feel safe around Josh Duggar, but that's just me. What are your thoughts? Tell me in the comments below. Bye, guys.